Right, let's turn our attention to other stories now. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has finally reacted to the budget padding allegations in the House of Representatives.
The anti-graft agency has begun investigations into the allegations and has interrogated the former chairman of the House Appropriation Committee, Adamu. Jibrin had accused the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, and 4 others of adding illegal projects worth 281 billion naira into the 2016 budget. All right, so joining us now from Abuja is the Chairman, House Committee on Rules and Business, Honorable Emmanuel Orkey, and also joining us via Skype is the House of Reps member, Abubakar, Chika, Adamu. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on the show.
Good morning, and I'm happy to be with you.
All right, Honorable Emmanuel, let me start with you here. The word padding, whether it's a political, a legal lexicon, whether it exists or doesn't exist, it seems to have become a contention now as to some members of the House of Representatives said, well, I've never heard anything called padding in the political lexicon generally. But if we come to the real issues that we can't run away from, as far as you are in the House and you've been watching things happening, what is the perspective of the House generally, whether in support of or against? But what's the perspective of the House? How embarrassed is the House, or how comfortable is the House concerning all these issues coming out from the House now with Woman Jibrin and the Speaker?
Well, thank you very much. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of what is happening, speaking for myself. And I think I can say that for a lot of other members, almost every member. You don't want to be part of an institution that every day is in the media for the wrong reasons. So certainly I'm not happy. As to whether the word padding is part of our lexicon, where as a lawyer I can say that there is no criminal offense like padding to start with. And basically, I want to say that padding is a creation of the media, especially when you use it in respect to the budgeting system. Yeah, what we are confronting is clearly a case of sour grapes, but the sour grapes have thrown up a lot of issues that we cannot ignore. The budgeting system. It is very clear that reformations have to take place. The first person to recognize this himself is the Speaker, because when members complain about the sharing formula of the constituency projects, because this is basically the issue at stake, is the sharing formula for constituency project fairly done? A lot of members feel that it is unfair for some few persons to take huge sums of money as constituency projects to their areas, while some have, not so much. I think that is basically the issue. When the issue came up in our meeting, the Speaker acknowledged that, okay, this is a tradition that we met, but if you guys are not happy with it, why not? We can change it. And so the Speaker himself is the first to acknowledge that this must be reformed. And the Senate President too, I think, taking a cue from that or responding to the issues that have been thrown up, has set together a committee to look at the budgeting system in the National Assembly. It's a committee that is saddled with the responsibility of reforming the budget process in the National Assembly. I'm privileged to be one of them. So why the matter started as sour grapes, it has thrown up issues that may lead to a reformation of how we do our job, especially when it comes to the budgeting processes in the National Assembly.
Okay, so that means, of course, there are lessons to be learned here. But let me go to Abubakar Chika Adamu, House of Reps member. Now, this episode already seems to be drawing the lines between, those who are on the side of Dogara and those who are on the side of Jibrin, who is the main protagonist in this case. Now, former Speaker Gali Naaba has actually come out to say that padding, as it were, cannot happen without the no of the executive. What do you make of these two situations? The House of Reps seem to be divided now, and of course, the fact that you can actually not take out or exclude the executive from this whole padding drama?
Differentiate transparency group from gibbering. First of all, I want you to take note that we are not pro-gibbering. We are only pro-Nigerians as to the impunity that is taking place in National Assembly, where because you entrusted people, you're giving them leadership position, and they want to make sure that they take advantage of you. Jibril was one of them, but today they have parted ways, and that is why you see what you are seeing today. But let me come here on the history of pardon. They can decide to call it poaching, they can decide to call it rustling. I think the word is not the most important. The semantic is not the most important. It is the illegality that is committed that we want everybody to know and should stop. First of all, yes, you have pardon, as Galina Abba said. We have pardon both between National Assembly and the executive. But the difference between the pardon of National Assembly and the executive is that the executive put it right from the beginning when the president made them intimated them to introduce the budget line. But here in the National Assembly, we create an entirely new budget line that does not exist, and we use the powers that we don't even have, because I think most of us don't understand the powers given to us. The power given to us does not mean we should introduce a new line item in the budget. But what is it is for us to align, to balance, to use the federal character principle to ensure that the budget is balanced, looking at the other indices, so that one area in Nigeria will not be overloaded. Or where, for instance, we feel the money in that line budget is inadequate, then there is a need for us to increase or reduce based on what was submitted by the executive. So I want to tell you, yes, there is budget pardon by the executive, but I think one of the issue is when the corruption issue in the budget pardon comes, that is again another area where you fault the executive. Like there are allegations that sometimes budget provisions are made, money are allocated, but the jobs will not find its way. And that is where the executive are culpable, because probably in those cases where such has happened, then the executive must have aligned. Because one thing I want Nigerians to know, the legislator cannot be able to award a contract to himself. Therefore, the executive are those who have responsibility to ensure that our contract awards are given out and certification are made that these jobs are done. But the powers of National Assembly member here also come on the oversight. Then if the two comes together, then you find nothing will be done to Nigerians. And that is why we said this impunity should stop. Nigeria is moving from what we call an oil-driven economy, which is not there now, to a tax economy. A tax regime, I believe every responsible Nigerian should not accept the nonsense that takes place in the National Assembly, where people will now, everybody pay tax, but certain people will corner the money to their own constituency to the detriment of others. That is what we want to go against, that Nigeria is for all Nigerians, not for those who have been entrusted with leadership in National Assembly. They should know they are one among equals. And let me give you an example. One of them who I believe speaks on their behalf, that is the Chief Whip, Honorable Dogwa, was even saying in a BBC program that even in the Biafalo there is a boss. He used the House of Power that this is a very unfortunate. This is an a statement with impunity. I don't expect somebody who I entrust leadership to him and then he's speaking this way. It's a very unfortunate thing, and I think we cannot take it any longer.
Okay, Honorable Adamu, I'm going to come back to you on this. Let me bring in Emmanuel Jerv in here. You talked about the issue earlier when you were talking. You said that there's level of unfairness in the sharing of constituency funds. Can you give us an idea? What is the specific ideals in the sharing of the sharing formula for constituency projects amongst members of the House of Reps, or maybe principal officers and the normal or regular members of the House?
No, what I said exactly was that, members complained. I'm not speaking about my personal opinion here, but a majority of the members complained that the sharing formula between the principal leaders and the other members was unfair. And the speaker explained that, well, if it is unfair, we can sit together and agree on how it should be shared. But what happened in the last budget, 2016 budget, is a tradition that started since the issue of the constituency project started way back in 2003. So, and he was open to any formula that the members wanted should be adopted henceforth. So that is this. But I want to hasten to say that in all of this, I've been waiting for that lawyer that will come out and say, well, this is the offense, particular offense that has been committed. People have been saying illegality, criminality, and all of that. Nobody has drawn my attention to an offense, because you cannot call it an offense when you cannot draw attention to a particular offense that has been committed. If you want to go to EFCC, ICPC, or any other security agency for that matter, you have to draw attention to the crime that has been committed. You know, yes, you know, maybe ethical codes have been breached or whatever, but I don't think this is an issue that we should have rushed to the security agencies, because at the end of the day, even if they go to court, I doubt whether they will ever drag anybody to court, but even if they do, I doubt whether anybody will get convicted, because this is an issue that can be resolved within the House. And good enough, like I said, even the Senate President has set up a committee that should look into the budgeting processes, and the inadequacies that have been noticed will be corrected. So I think we are on the way to finding a solution, and the less we heed the polity, the better.
All right, at this point, let's listen to the Speaker of the House himself, Dogara, as he makes comments about this whole padding issue.
Resign for what? For what now?
On this allegation.
What is the allegation?
That you and some members of the leadership padded the budget.
I've asked you what is padding, you haven't told me.
Jibrin has spoken it.
Ask him what is padding.
Are you
where? Well, for me, I studied law. I've been a legislator. All this period, I've never had the word padding being an offense under any law. If I don't know, you are the media, research the law, let me know.
Are you worried? What is happening?
Worried for what? Worried over nothing? Why should I be worried?
Would there be sanctioned?
Will they be sanctioned?
No, I'm not chairman rule ethics of the House, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Worried? Why should I be worried? Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried about anything.
All right, you heard the speaker there reacting to questions about the padding generally. Now, Honorable Abubakar Chika Adamu earlier said, well, it's not about the semantics of what term you use, what term, whether padding or spare tire, anything you call
whatever it is.
Whatever you call it. The speaker, if you talked about the issue of, he used the word impunity in the National Assembly. He talked about illegality, and that's what I'm going to ask him right now to give us the picture, because the Honorable Speaker just said, well, I've never heard about the issue of padding. I don't know what padding is as the case may be.
If I read him correctly, if I heard correctly what he just said there, he said he's a lawyer, he's been a member of the House, he has never heard or seen a situation where padding is an offense. So padding does exist based on what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's asked the question, resign for what? Why should I resign? Why should I be worried about all of these allegations?
All right, Honorable Adamu Chika, Abubakar Chika Adamu, you talked about impunity in the National Assembly earlier on, and talked about, you used the word illegality in the National Assembly. The Speaker just said, well, in fact, Honorable Jeff just said earlier on that there's no crime about the so-called padding thing you're talking about. There's no illegality, as the case may be. But from your perspective, can you give us a picture of the impunity you talked about and then the illegality you talked about, so we can have a clearer picture if we have to pitch these things against each other?
First of all, I think impunity has played itself right now when Mr. Speaker spoke. Mr. Speaker went to Mr. President. In presidents, are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you can see even inside the president's presidential villa, Mr. Speaker is talking as if nothing wrong took place in National Assembly. That is the level of impunity you find from these people. Let me give you an example. Even after doing all they have done, one of them again, the same Dogwa, was even countering Honorable Hussein Kangiwa, saying that his people have sent somebody who is only sleeping in National Assembly. He could not bring even anything to them, that he is challenging that they have inserted project and therefore they should even change their pass. But let me come clear about the illegality. You see, these people have done two things. One, they have done what I would call breach of trust, and then two, they have committed what I call forgery. Now let's start with Mr. Speaker's constituency. Mr. Speaker included over 3.something billion naira in his constituency project. One, while I have only 90 million naira in my constituency project. Two, out of around 9 billion that is supposed to be federal project in Mr. Speaker's state, which is about Mr. Speaker for that 4 billion, nearly 50% of the total amount that will be used for the entire Bauchi state, and he took it to his place. And I will someone was 50%.
All right, we seem to have Honorable Adamu, we seem to have problems hearing you. We can't hear you clearly. Maybe the lines are choked up and there are distortions in here, but we'll try to rectify that and have you back on.
Let me quickly go to Chika Adamu. Honorable Orkey Jeff. Now, is this a case of the genie, is out of the bottle already? Look, the APC has waded in asking Jibrin to stop making further comments on this padding issue in public, on any, social media. Is this issue beyond the APC now, or is it really a family affair for the APC?
Well, the party has its role to play. Honorable Jibrin is a member of the APC, the Speaker too, and at least a sizable number of the principal leaders are members of the APC. So the matter can be handled at that level. I mean, but I think basically it falls down to the House, to resolve its own affairs, because come to think of it, it's not everybody in the House that is a member of the APC. So the gentleman may have left the bottle, but I think the matter is not beyond redemption. The party can call its members and talk to them and know exactly what is happening, because make no mistake about it, this is politics. It's not about criminality. I remember in 2007, when I first came to the House, we were confronted with a similar situation. There was a group known as Integrity Group. I also went there. I didn't exactly understand the issues then, because some of us were hoodwinked into thinking that a crime had been committed.
All right, we'll have to put you on hold. I'm afraid we'll have to put you on hold. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we return, of course, it will be 8 o'clock time to bring you the news update, and right after that, we'll continue shortly with this discussion. Stay with us.
If you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and we are discussing matters arising from the budget padding at the National Assembly. It's been on the news over the past weeks on what disagreements and dissatisfactions and maybe disappointment from members of the House, one way or the other. Former chairman of House Committee on Appropriation at the moment, Jibrin, has been on the media reading out issues going on at the National Assembly. We're discussing this with Honorable Emmanuel Jeff at our Abuja studio. He's a member of the House of Reps. And we also have Honorable Abubakar Chika Adamu joining us on Skype from Kaduna. Now, let me come to you, Honorable Jeff, in here. Let me ask you first. Has Honorable Abdulmumin Jibril violated any House rule for going to the media to reel out some of issues going on at the National Assembly that could have been maybe handled internally, as some persons have said, as the case may be? Has he violated any House standing rule or ad hoc rule, as the case may be?
Please, no. Please, I don't want to go there yet. You see, I've always been an apostle of trying to settle matters in-house. I don't want to begin to make statements to compromise my, neutrality, as it were, on this matter. Definitely, we have our house rules. When the time comes, the Ethics and Privileges Committee will take a look and determine whether any house rules have been breached. But I don't want. I've been apostle of trying to say that, look, we have a problem on our hand. Let's try to resolve the problem in-house and not take it out there, because some of the commentaries I've been hearing from out there are uninformed. Some people don't even have the facts, and they make a lot of judgments on what is happening. That is the danger when you refuse to handle your matters in-house and decide to take them out there in the public domain. I've insisted that no crime has been committed. That one I can say certainly, because none of the lawyers that have come up and contributed on this issue has pointed to any law that has been, breached. Some people say forgery has taken place. Well, if forgery has taken place, who should be held responsible? Because the president has signed this budget, the chairman Jibril has signed it, chairman appropriation in the Senate have signed it. So who is to be held responsible if you are talking about forgery? Of course, there's no forgery. The processes that lead to a budget, to the processes in putting together an act, were complied with. So some people talk about forgery. At what point or rather insertion or padding, at what point did the insertion take place? Okay, because before a matter is ruled upon on the floor in plenary, every member is given a copy of the document. Now, I'm yet to see anybody come up with a document to say that, okay, this is the document that came on the floor, and this is the document that is appearing now as the document that was alleged to have been passed by. And nobody has said that. People just say, oh, something was changed, or there. Nobody has brought any document that was on the floor that is different from the one that is being paraded as the final document. So it's neither here nor there. I don't want to go to the area of whether Jibril can be, handled by the rules of the House or not. When we come back, it will be a collective decision that will be taken.
Okay, let me go to Abubakar Adamu here. Now, let's even go down memory lane. Remember when the appropriation bill was laid out by the president, and then you had the issue of budget missing and all of that. One of the House of Reps members, who is not necessarily on the side of Jibrin, actually accused Jibrin of making away with the appropriation bill for a period of 3 weeks, and went with consultants and tried to tinker with this appropriation bill that he's accusing Dogara and others of padding now. As a member of the House, do you want to shed light for us on this episode, and maybe we can tie the knots together and make sense of this?
Thank you very much. But I am always baffled when they say Jibril got missed for 3 weeks with the budget. Who appointed Mr. Jibril as chairman House Committee on Appropriation? Who is in charge of the House? How can Jibril get missing for 3 weeks? This is not acceptable by any member of National Assembly. And then why remove Jibril now if you feel he has gotten under for 3 weeks with Nigerian budget? I think this is a very unfortunate. I don't.
All right, we still have distortions from Honorable Adamu there in joining us on Skype from Kaduna. We'll try to fine-tune the lines to get your perspective on this. But let me come back to you, Honorable Jev, in here. Now, the EFCC has already received petition from Honorable Jibril, as the case may be. And from what we report, or what we see, EFCC might be ready to investigate issues or financial issues going on at the National Assembly. Now, how cooperative is the National Assembly ready to be with the EFCC in investigating this issue?
As a law-making body and a law-abiding body, I mean, we have a responsibility when someone to appear before any investigative panel that is put together by law. In this case, a law made by the National Assembly itself. So I'm sure that all those who have been summoned to go and give testimony before any of those agencies, security agencies, the EFCC, the ICPC, DSS. I think when they summon, all of those that are summoned will appear and give testimony. But I'm confident that at the end of the day, nothing will come out of it, because what we have at the National Assembly that needs reformation is not criminal. It's just a matter of the processes that we now have in place for making the national budget. That is what needs reformation. I was talking before the break. I was saying that this is purely political, and it happened before. In 2007, a group came up called Integrity Group, and they accused them, Speaker Patricia Ete, of a lot of criminal misconduct. She was supposed to have used over 600 million to put together her place, her official residence, and all of that. Because of the pressure from the public and the House, she was forced to resign. But at the end of the day, the House gave an apology to Mrs. Ete that all of that was not true. So I see it happening all over again, a situation where something that is not criminal, something that is well, of course there are inadequacies, and where we are, the House leadership has put, or rather the National Assembly leadership as a whole has put together a panel, like I mentioned, to try to make sure that the inadequacies that have been noticed are corrected. So it is not something that the EFCC or the DSSS or any of those agencies could handle. But since reports have been made there, in order to show transparency in the handling of the affairs, I think we have a responsibility to go there and clear things up.
Okay, to you now, Adamu, Chika. Now that the EFCC has waded in to investigate these allegations by Jibrin, former Appropriation Committee chairman, what kind of resolution do you expect to see in this matter?
I believe that no arm of government is immune from investigation, be it executive, be it judiciary or legislature. And therefore, to my mind, this is a very good development. We are not immune to investigation, and therefore, I believe that the law should now play its own course.
It really has not been the best of days for Skype right there, but well, that's where we really have to leave it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Emmanuel Okeoje, House of Reps member, and of course another House of Reps member in the person of Abubakar Chika Adamu, speaking to us on this big issue. How do you deal with a problem that is budget padding? Thank you, gentlemen.